Do you regret ever buying a fragrance? I surely do, and here are the 3 I regret the most in my collection. Welcome back, everybody, to Joel the Nose. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for those of you who have already subscribed. If you haven't already, I would humbly ask for your following. And if you find this useful, helpful, enjoying, if you enjoy the video or get anything out of it, I would request that you please subscribe and follow me so I can continue doing more of these for you guys. Let's get right into this. I don't know if I've ever done this video before. I've done well over 1,000 or 1,200 videos over the last 7 years or so. And this one is my top 3 fragrances that I regret most in my collection. They're still in my collection. Do I still use them occasionally? Yes, but extremely rarely. And I'll get into this right now. My third most, so I'll go in order of 3, 2, 1. My third most is a fragrance called Archetypo from Minditosa. Minditosa, this is an Italian house. I really like the house. I probably bought this because I love Italian niche fragrance, and I bought this probably 7 or 8 years ago. You can see how much I've used it in that time. Obviously not very much. And I think I got it originally because I just love the Italian design. Simple bottle, but they really do cool stuff with their caps. You can see this is like a metal wire cap, and all their fragrances have unique kind of caps, so they're all a little bit different. And I gotta say, I was probably a little bit of a sucker for the design. I love design, I love architecture, I love looking at that stuff. And when I smelled it, I was really into vetiver at the time. When I was just kind of getting into vetiver, and I had just bought some vetiver fragrances, and so I grabbed this thinking, okay, this is a unique vetiver fragrance. But what I also knew right from the beginning, so it wasn't like I was surprised, the main note listed at the heart is a note of smoke. So it's got a bunch of other stuff. It's got some fir, it's got incense, which I like. So it had, you know, a bunch of notes that I typically gravitate towards: incense, vetiver, amber, patchouli, labdamen. So it had a lot of cool, resinous, sensual, sexy notes. But this is just way too much smoke. And it's a smoke that's got this kind of just weird funkiness to it. I don't know how to describe it other than the fact that it almost smells a little bit like urine. You know, some fragrances have that animalic note that can smell like, I don't know, animalic without being, it can smell like, you know, your rear, your behind. It can smell fecal almost. This is not like that, but it smells to me like urine. It smells to me a little bit like cat piss. I have a cat. Years ago, before I got him neutered, he would spray in the house, you know, mark his territory, and if it got on anything, it just completely ruined it. You'd have to throw it out. There was no getting cat piss out. Now, I'm not saying it smells that bad, but it just, for some reason, this reminds me of that. So, now, I will say this, I've gotten compliments from it. I have worn it and gotten compliments from it. So I think when it's on my skin, it works a lot better, but I just can't get it out of my head. So that's number 3. All right, let's go to number 2. Number 2, I'm gonna say is, this is a tough one because 2 and 1 are kind of equal. 1 Million from Paco Rabon. I think now it's just Rabon. 1 Million EDT came out in 2008. Okay, been around. One of those just huge juggernauts of a popular fragrance. 1 million different flankers of it now. The bottle's cool, I like it, right? You sprayed that thing back here. Cool bottle, nice spray, pleasant designer fragrance. But to me, this signified when that real change of designer fragrances, I think, started to go downhill. You look through the early 2000s, you still had, I think, unique fragrances. Yeah, you had flankers, but you didn't have everything just mass consumed, where perfumes, I think, were not being designed anymore by perfumers or, say, creative people, creative directors, where they lost a lot of power and it just became marketing. So the marketing departments took over really kind of in that 2000s period where it's just like, what sells the most? And I get it, it's a business, but it became where they had all the say, and the creative directors and the perfumers lost a lot of their input, and it's just like became hired guns for the marketing department, and they focus tested everything and they looked at what was selling. And again, that's a whole nother debate, but to me, this signifies that. And so when you look at this, yeah, it's a nice, it's that period where, and you're gonna see the other fragrance I picked here at number 1, came out the same year, 2008, and they're almost exact similar fragrances that were just everywhere during that period and are still out there, I think, in the marketplace, that which makes the designer fragrances lose a lot of their luster. You have this kind of grapefruit citrus opening, and then you have this very oriental sweet amber finish, and probably a lot of ambroxan. It's just, again, so blah, so bland. Now, of these two, I think this is a little bit better than the one I'm going to say is my least favorite, but I will give myself, to defend myself a little bit here, I bought this one. I didn't buy it. It was a gift from my ex-girlfriend. And she got it because her people and her family, her friends, her brothers wore it, and she thought it was always a very nice fragrance. So, you know, it has some nostalgic value for me because of that. But overall, it's just a fragrance that I never find myself wearing, even if I think that I need to wear a, quote, mass appealing designer fragrance for a certain event or whatever I'm going to, which sometimes there is merit behind that. That's going to lead me to my number 1 most regretted fragrance in my collection, least favorite, whatever you want to call it, and that is the one from Dolce & Gabbana EDT. Both these, the 1 million is the EDT, and this is the EDT. So I think it's, you know, the very first ones that came out. Also 2008. This is very similar to that one. And again, to me, these two fragrances symbolize when designer fragrances lost their way. And you may think that I'm like anti-designer fragrance, and I'm not. If you go back in perfume history, it was designer fragrances way before niche, the classics, okay? The classics. You go back, amazing fragrances. If you look at, you know, kind of, you know, you go back and look at the fragrances from obviously the early 1900s, the middle 1900s, the late 1900s. I mean, that's what I used to wear. But this one, again, very similar, has that kind of grapefruit opening. This one, to me, it just, again, even more than 1 million, just symbolizes everything that's gone wrong with designer fragrances. And it has also that kind of amber, differs a little bit, has more of a tobacco note versus 1 million has like a leather note in the base. So that's really, to me, the only differences, but they're so minor that when you wear these, you just smell like basic AF designer fragrances that came out now almost 20 years ago, 2008. So, you know, and just, again, to me, just where designer fragrances and houses lost their way, just to create one flanker after another that smells very similar to the other. And the marketing departments took over and just basically ran amok and let the creative directors go. And I think that's why you saw the rise of niche really kind of in that period where you really started to see the around 2010s where niche fragrances started to just really ballooned over the last 10 years, because at least, and not all niche fragrance houses, but most of them, it's more about the art of the perfumery, where this is just about the art of the sell. So there you have it, my top 3. Let me know. Again, I love you guys' comments. Thank you all for participating in discussions. I love to know what are your 3, or at least 1 or 2, but if you have 3 most regretted fragrances in your collection, or the ones you dislike the most now. And you know what? It changes over time. I will say, again, 1 million was a gift, and the one I bought purely for research purposes, because I had never bought it on my own because I wanted it. I bought it because I review fragrances and I wanted to kind of really know and speak about it intelligently rather than just, you know, criticizing something I didn't know. So there you have it. Again, let me know your guys' fragrances, and let's get an interesting list here. I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you guys for watching, and remember, don't be a wimp. Spray like a pimp.
You guys always smell great. Who do you trust for fragrance reviews?
JoelTheNose.
JoelTheNose.
JoelTheNose.